are stories that connect us to ourselves and each other. These stories reveal who we are and show us the many vivid, wild colors of our truth. Welcome to Soul Wanderings, where we raise spiritual awareness and foster connections through these shared stories and personal experiences. And now, exclusively on KGRA Radio, I give you your host for Soul Wanderings Radio. Here's AJ.
Humans, welcome back to Soul Wanderings. It's Wednesday night, my favorite night, of course, and I am delighted to be here with you every week. It's such a blessing. I love talking about all of these topics, and tonight is no exception. I can't wait to share with you here in a moment. But first, I want to make sure you guys can find Soul Wanderings on all of the platforms. Make sure you're following us on kgradb.com. Also, go to soulwanderings.com, and there you can connect to all of the social media links. I'm going to be honest. I don't do a lot of social. I try. I really do try. So it's lacking a little bit and could use some love. I'm definitely working on showing up more for all of you in that way. I want to. It's definitely something that I want to do is connect with you more outside of Wednesday nights, because every day should feel as good as Soul Wanderings Day. I get so many emails from you. If you have questions or want to share some of your journey story with me, if you're looking for answers on different things that I do during the day, like working with crystals, working with healing of all kinds, especially trauma, all of that good stuff, you can email me at connect@soulwanderings.com. I do read all of my emails and I do reply to all of you. It may not be like on the first day you write me, but I do check my email often and I am replying within a day or two. So thank you to all of you who reach out to me. You keep me going each and every week, just knowing that you're out there, you're listening, that I'm able to assist you, that my guests are inspiring you to share. And it's just really a blessing. I do have to say, I am human, just like you, believe it or not. I find it so funny. Sometimes people think that I have the answers to everything, and I don't. I am a human going through human experiences, just like all of you. And I've just chosen to show up in this way. And if I don't have the answer, I'll definitely look with you and help you in that way. But I don't know everything. I definitely am no professional by any means. Like, I'm not a guru. And that's one of the things I love about me is I'm just human. I'm right here with you. I'm walking down this path with you, and we're meant to do that. We're meant to help each other out in all of the ways and support each other and be real with each other. And I just find that those authentic and genuine connections that we have with each other are based on a foundation that, we are one and we are here having this human experience together. So thank you. Thank you for showing up in my experience, and thank you for being here for another live Soul Wanderings. Tonight is going to be really awesome. It's not outside of the box of what we normally talk about. It definitely is things that we bring up from time to time, but tonight is going to go a little more in depth of the topic at hand. So without further ado, let's just get to it. I want to introduce our guest tonight. Her name is Marcela Benson, and she is a spiritual nutrition counselor, an Essene priestess, and an author based in Miami Beach, Florida. She's a healer, passionate poet, avid student, and a spiritual teacher. And she's been trained by Dr. Gabriel Cousens at his School of Holistic Wellness in Arizona, where she graduated with a mastery in vegan live food nutrition, specializing in spiritual fasting and recovering from diabetes naturally. And she has studied superfood nutrition, Ayurvedic science, Chinese tonic herbalism, Amazonian herbalism, 0 point energy healing, healing with gems and stones. You all know that's my favorite. And application of bioresonance, biofeedback, and frequencies for harmonization at some of the top institutions in the world. And her mission is to help the world evolve into a new way of living and eating. And she is doing that by creating this amazing book. She calls it her Magnus Opus coffee table book. It's called Love, Peace, and Vegetables Recipes for Conscious Living. And she created it as an inspirational guide to bring health, spirituality, positivity, and compassion to your home. And she joins us today to share all of her inspiration and her passion for her project. I'm so happy to have you here, Marcella.
Thank you, AJ. I'm so happy to be here.
I love when you guys share your bios with me so I can share as much as you do, but that was a lot. You're up to a lot of beautiful and amazing things. And so Wanderings is about diving deep into you and learning all about Marcella tonight, which there's so much to learn, it sounds like. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So you are the author of Love, Peace, and Vegetables, and that's really neat because I mean food is medicine, right? It's we need food to sustain ourselves. The vibration of the food we eat changes our human experiences, and we're definitely going to get into all of that. But I want to get to know you more first. So, in your words, why don't you share with us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a spiritual teacher above everything else. I started my journey when very early on in life, actually. Very early on in life, I knew I had a very thin veil. In fact, at 5 years old, I could already see different things that most people wouldn't. And my path started very early, understanding that our physical matter was not the beginning of everything, and it was not the only destination. But by around 15, I've already was having a wonderful human experience, and one of the things that made me remember who I really was and what I came into this world was when one of my dear friends, we were sitting, I was born in Buenos Aires, but I don't come from Buenos Aires. I have my mom was born in Tel Aviv, in Israel. My father was born in Argentina, but his parents were born in Syria, you see. Wow. And my great-grandparents were from Syria, from Damascus, a little town called Aleppo, and we come from many, many generations of being in the desert and also from Spain. But when I was in Argentina, I grew up, my experience in Argentina was wonderful. I had wonderful teachers. In fact, I just got noticed that one of my first teachers passed away at 100 years old. Wow. And I just got to know this a year ago, and I was like, I didn't get to show her my book. But then I thought, how could I ever show her my book? She was 100 years old. And mind you, she taught until she was 98.
Wow. What a life.
Yes. And I do mention her here, and I'm grateful to her because my path in Argentina, the teachers that I had there filled me up with love and taught me the love for books, the love for poetry, the love for stories. And I had teachers who understood that I needed a different type of attention, a deeper attention, a broader view So I did not become a different child, but I became a very loved child by these teachers that I had from very early on. So going back to my dear friend, when we were 15 and a half, something like that, we were having I remember walking in Argentina with my black raincoat and my big boots. Yeah. Back in the days, we had the yellow Walkmans. Yeah. I don't think anybody knows what they are anymore. And I was listening to The Cure in the bus. Yeah. Going to.
So good. Yeah.
And I go and I sit with my friends and we order pizza, and I order pizza with meat. And my friends turned around and looked at me and says, Marcela, do you know you're eating cadavers? And I was like, what? And they explained to me, I never put two and two together, but that day I became a vegetarian. And I
Just
knew,
like that.
just like that. I never looked back, and I knew something in me connected to many lifetimes and connected to my soul that, wow, it was like, right, that's completely right. It's just like a piece of a puzzle fits together perfectly. Yeah. I never looked back. I never had the problem, or I'm tempted, or I miss this, or I miss that. I never looked back. And I started feeling better right away. And I had a huge detox for a year. I had acne and I had all kinds of things happening, but I wasn't going to turn around the boat. And I didn't know then that I was having a detox. I didn't know. And around 16, like a 16-year-old does, I wanted to go to a special place to lose weight, because I've always had, my father was obese and diabetic. All his family, all his brothers were obese. They all died from obese-related diseases. And I've kind of fell into that programming. Yes, and the programming of emotional eating and good emotions, bad emotions, it's like, okay, pleasure, yay, Yeah. And this was something for me also from around 8 years old on, that I started to uptake that programming. So by 16, I said, I want to lose weight. I need to lose weight. I want to lose weight. And I went to and that whole year I spent, actually, one of my first other teachers was Matashi Indra Devi, which was a yoga teacher who came to the United States, and she was from Russia and went to India and then came to Argentina and opened up the first yoga schools, the asanas, just regular asanas. And I was one of the youngest ones going, but I really loved her because, she also died when she was 106 years old. Okay, so
long life.
Yes, she was amazing. Indra Devi was very, very special, how she taught yoga and how she taught also the energy. I remember going to a theater where she was teaching at this theater, a very big theater, San Martin Theater. And she was showing how if you had an apple in your hand, how your hand was testing, the reflexology analysis. And then she put sugar in one hand, and how your muscles all of a sudden had no more strength to hold itself. That was a huge impact for me at 15 and a half, huge. And I was like, well, I like this. So there is when, I became a vegetarian for reasons that I knew that was perfect for me. And then I started my path of learning health foods, which is very different from being vegetarian or vegan, because then learning how to manage all of that, it's a whole different ballgame. My path started with my teacher, my yogic teacher, Indra Devi, showing me how the muscles are showing you what makes you weaker, what makes you stronger. And So by that time, I was already okay. Now I need to lose weight. I need to, get get my strength back and lose weight. And I went up to this mountain where they had a special spa retreat. And it was not a spa, but it was a retreat. They were teaching the mountain diet. So they will give you a little bites every 2 hours. So I would ask them, my bites need to be vegetarian. That is very important. And they gave me little bites every 2 hours. And then after a week of doing that, they take out all the bites and they give you broth. Corn broth, corn barb. Okay, corn barb, because the barb of the corn, it's a very good medicine for the kidneys.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, so they will give you this broth and then water. And I did that for 21 days. When I started doing that, little did I know that I started feeling this urge that I wanted to meditate. I felt like I needed to do, what I've learned that whole year, because that whole year I learned yoga, I learned meditation, and I said, well, now I start feeling the urge. I need to go and meditate. And every day I got my chair out, first to the balcony, and I meditated at night. And then I got it out a little bit near the mountain, and then a little bit more, and my fears start peeling. And until one day, I had no idea that this could happen to you. One day I had this experience of merging into complete oneness, just meditating, without even knowing. All of a sudden, I felt one with the universe. I felt that I was part of the ether, of the stars, of the moon, of the earth, and my body was there, but I was everywhere else.
I love that.
Yes.
What a beautiful experience.
Yes. And then with that, I came back. I felt like, oh, well, I'm back here. I'm back here. And next day, it was very funny because my friend and her father, they both woke up with a bindi, a little red dot here.
Yeah.
And they looked at me and they said, what were you doing? Because they knew that I wanted to meditate, and they knew, and they were just making fun of me. And I would laugh because, at 16 years old, I used to take everything very lightly, And that's basically how my journey started. And I could hear, that day I went to the water, just to the pool water, and I would lie down and look up, and I would hear these beautiful words of poetry, these beautiful words of love. And all of a sudden I stopped and I said, oh, have you gone crazy? This is a little bit crazy. Now it's getting crazy, Marce. And then, as the day passed, I realized that it was not something that I was inventing in my head, that it was something that was there for us. The love, the unconditional peace, the unconditional loving words on the ether, and the poetry is something that is not ours. It's not from us. We could be a vehicle for it, but it's there. And that's also how I started writing poetry. Because
you started writing as young as 16?
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
I wouldn't call myself a poet, but when I was that age, I always listened to song lyrics and would write them over and over, right? Because they were just so beautiful. But what a great way for you to express your feelings and emotions at such a young age.
Yes. Poetry is so much fun,
It really is. It can be. It's a great way to express every experience that you go through, no doubt. No doubt.
Yes.
Do you include poetry in your new book?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes. Blessings, poetry, and art, a little bit of everything. So, well, that's a little bit of my story.
Well, first of all, it sounds like a beautiful childhood. Like you had the opportunity to really have some, I would say, more adult experiences at such a young age. Most of us are becoming more aware or wanting to try these unconventional ways when we're older, after we have gone through some really big things and want a shift in our life. Yet here you are at 16 having these really profound experiences through yoga and meditation that, oh, wow, if our 16-year-olds did that these days, right?
You'll
The
be
world would be
surprised.
a different place.
You'll be surprised. Some they do. I
Well,
met.
I feel like kids these days, the younger ones, like definitely coming into the world right now, are way more awake than a lot of the adults. Things are shifting, most definitely, but I, I mean, for this generation, like our generation, that wasn't a common thing that was done, let alone talked about. And if it was, it wasn't always received well because it was so unconventional. It was so different. It was so outside the norm.
It's true. It's true. I always say that I was blessed with incredible adults in my life and diverse,
Mhm.
from all parts of the world. And but they were adults. You see, the adults who really care, those have such a legacy to give. And I
Mhm.
feel very blessed that I've been touched and loved by many teachers and many adults that have given me a piece of who I am today.
Ah, good. I love that. Those are the things I like to hear. I've interviewed several people in the last 5 years doing soul wanderings. And that is one common thing that we have is our upbringing, right? How it has influenced us as adults, as it does for even all of the listeners, everyone out there. Like the way we are raised has a huge effect on how we enter the world in adulthood. And you were raised in a way that you had such a strong, incredible foundation to become the woman that you are. And I just think that's amazing and beautiful. What made you decide to put yourself out there in this way? You We'll get to the book here after the break, but before we head into it, this is a big project. This book is no small book. It literally is a coffee table book. Has like over 150 pages. Is that correct?
It has 444 pages.
400 and oh, I read that wrong. I know how thick it is because I flipped through it digitally before I ordered it and I was like, wow, I cannot wait to have it just for the pictures alone. Like it's such a work of art. It's so beautiful. What inspired you to put out a piece of work like this into the world?
Well, I felt through my life that the times that I've learned the most in a way that is natural is when I was inspired.
Yeah.
And having certain things in life, and not having, because it doesn't, you don't have to have things, yes, but I do feel that beauty and words that are written in a way that are inviting. Okay. For example, I designed this book to be an invitation. I don't want to be, if you do whatever you do, it doesn't matter. Whatever your path is in life, I'm inviting you into this and I'm not judging anything about your lifestyles or your journey. But, like when I write, I've learned from my dear friend, Aine, that who's been my teacher in writing, to also to invite people, because now the trend is, okay, let's me, we, you.
Right.
Yeah, the trend is like you, and like we're trying to always trying to sell something, trying to catch somebody. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I want you to come because you want to come. You want to come to the journey. You have the drive to find something new. I don't want to catch you. I want you to catch yourself wanting to do stuff and come into this consciousness. And if it turns you on through the beauty, and if it turns you on through the words, and if it turns you on in a way that is highest and best for you, that's what I like. And that's why it took me also about 10 years. I had many lessons to learn, many judgments to burn up, and many things to learn myself. So it took me a very long time to finally get this out into my highest and best, to find the highest and best of others.
Oh, that is so lovely. I like that so much, everything that you shared. And what an amazing way to put your purpose out into the world as an invitation to all and give them their free will to accept. So good. Thank you so much. And to all of you, I'm giving you an invitation to continue wandering with us. We're going to have a short break. And when we return, we'll continue our wandering with our guest, Marcela Benson.
Hey members, the new KGRADB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRADB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRADB.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan.
Welcome to the new KGRA digital broadcasting website, thekgradb.com. Here you'll find great new content, including the KGRA Classics, great shows from our archives. You'll be able to see the show times and information so you can see what show is currently on air. The on-air live button. So just go to this section and you'll be able to hear the show live with exceptional sound quality. We also have the Vault section. Make sure to subscribe to get access to great content and special features. We have the make content for our latest news and events, so make sure to sign up and you can be part of our forum. So make sure to check out the new KGRA digital broadcasting website, thekgradb.com. We look forward to seeing you there, and we hope that you enjoy the new website.
Hi, friends. Welcome back to Soul Wanderings. We're hanging out on kgradb.com. So I recommend you going over there. It's a really cool website where you can check out my show and a ton of other shows. There are so many on KGRA that you'll want to look at. And if you want to take a peek behind the scenes and see all that there is in the membership area, I would love for you to do that. And if you decide that you want to purchase a membership, I recommend you do so. And if you want a discount on that membership of 30%, I can give you that. Use my promo code SOUL21, which is SOUL21, and you'll receive that discount. There's a lot of good things going on back there, so I highly recommend it. Tonight we are visiting with our guest, Marcela Benson. She's a spiritual nutrition counselor and the author of Love, Peace, and Vegetables, Recipes for Conscious Living. Welcome back, Marcela.
Thank you.
I'm curious, of all of the things that you could have written about, what was the drive for you to write about food and conscious living and eating?
Well, my drive, was, I grew up with a diabetic father, and really, I didn't want to be in nutrition or spirituality either, although I understood about it, but I didn't like what I was taught as a youngster about spirituality, neither about nutrition, and neither about health. So I just wanted to run. I went and I studied fashion design because I figured I was going to end up in Los Angeles or New York or Paris.
That was your childhood dream?
Well, before that was a painter, and I painted for many, many, many years, and I was a potter, and I did pottery for many years, and I loved that. And I thought that I was going to be an artist. And then I thought, well, I want to speak English now. And my best friend was getting married in Miami. And I said, I have to go visit my friend and go to her wedding. And, of course, I already met my husband when I was 15. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. And I said, I want to go to, and he was from the United States, and I wanted to come to my friend's wedding. So I did. And with the huge effort of my parents, they put the money together so I could come to study English. And I did, and it was a huge effort for them. And that's when I started appreciating, because I started to see, wow, my parents really are putting forth and everything they have to send me to the United States. And I came here, and I saw, and I got married when I was 24. When I was 20, I'm sorry, not 24. I had my first child when I was 24. And when he started growing up, my son Joseph, he got a diagnosis of ADD, non-hyperactive, and mild dyslexia. And I ended up weighing about 258 pounds, of course, eating vegetarian, diet sodas, fat-free. At that time, it was the fad of the fat-free everything. So I was going to lose weight because I was going to have a lot of fat-free stuff. Yeah.
We're so tricked, aren't we?
I tell you, which is just so ignorant. And, I think some people, just to make a buck, or many bucks or many cents or much money, which doesn't make you happy, they created an industry of trickery,
Yes.
And but anyhow, despite the trickery, I had something which is, the truth pierces through everything. The truth
Absolutely.
It's going to come out. Sooner or later, it will come out and it will shed its light everywhere.
Always does. Yes.
It always does. And in my life, it did. With the love that I had for my son, I knew that I wasn't going to go to the route of medicine. I knew that I had to learn. I knew that I just had an inner knowing, like, I have to know.
Yeah.
And I knew that my son there was nothing wrong with him. I knew he was smart. I just knew it. I mean, I could see him play. I mean, he would play with these complicated train sets, and he would do very interesting things that I just, admired him. And I couldn't believe that there was anything wrong with him. That was not part of my, the doctors told me, we do not advise you not to follow what we say because he might never be successful.
I'm curious, how old was he when he was diagnosed?
He was diagnosed around 7, 8. First grade,
so
second
plenty
grade.
of time to have different chemicals and preservatives and things put into his body.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But at that time, I also realized something because I gave him home food, although it was not healthy, because I didn't know what I know now. He asked me around when he was 5, 6 that he wanted to eat lunch at school like all the other children. And I said, oh, fantastic. Wow, fantastic. I don't have to cook anymore. Fantastic.
Right.
And I let him do that. But then I noticed through the years, his mood was becoming worse. Worst. And I'm like, am I such a bad mother? Is my husband maybe working too much? He was a working father and I was a working mom. And I'm like, are we not paying attention to this child? Is something wrong? I first pointed to me. And I had no idea that what's happening. His chemistry was changing because the food he was eating was not feeding him. So this little man, this little boy, was so upset with his friends and upset with his teacher and blaming everybody else. And, on top of that, he's a Scorpio. So when he goes dark, he goes dark.
Well, I'm familiar with Scorpio energy. Yes.
And I couldn't understand, but everything was worse and worse and worse until the doctor says, okay, we have a problem. The teachers first, he's not paying attention. He's not learning.
Mm-hmm.
Then the doctors, we need to medicate, and something told me I can't do that. And then I prayed just like that. Like when I was little and I prayed for the silliest things, for health for my family. I prayed for health for my son. And with a pure heart, I prayed. And one thing led me to another. One, a massage therapy that time. I started learning about veganism around when I was 28 years old. Mm-hmm. Then somebody gave me a book, my teacher's book, Conscious Eating. See? And Dr. Gabriel Cassin's book. And then they gave me another book. And I love those books. And then I said, okay, I need to know more, because if I'm going to transition my whole family, if I'm going to change everything to vegan, I need to know that I'm not going to damage their health, their brain, their hearts, their teeth. Right. I was worried because I had no knowledge and I wasn't going to do it without knowledge. So I went and I bought all these books. I went to the local bookstore and I bought a pile like that. In 3 months, I read them all. That's all I did every day. I said, I have to read. And I realized that from one book to another book, they will send to nutrition. Oh, nutrition. And I put everything together and then I said, okay, I got to change this diet. I have to take out white bread. I have to take the sugar out. I have to take the cheese out. I have to take the dairy out. And I started realizing, oh, wow, although I nursed my son, I remember he used to, when he was little, he used to projectile vomit after he would have macaroni and cheese.
So you were putting the pieces together.
Everything's coming together through the years. Okay. So you have to be patient with life, time. It's very sensitive. Time is, so you have to be, I said, one of the things that, you have to come back again and come back again and come back again and do it again and get up again. And through the years, I realized what really happened. And then finally, I got an education. By the time my time I had my daughter, and she was born, actually, I was already vegan my whole pregnancy with her. And she was born with a little bit opening in the arteries of the heart and undeveloped lungs. But she was fine. The only thing that when she would get sick, she would get these croups, and croups would make it very difficult to breathe. And she will get a bit blue, and I will end up in the hospital. And it was steroids to open up the lungs and for her to be able to breathe. Yeah. And I was like, what am I going to do now? I have an 8-year-old and I have a 3-year-old. They have 7 years of difference. So my math might not very good, but you can make math.
Okay. We get the gist.
Yes. And I'm like, what am I going to do now? And then I said, you know what? I need to study. And finally, I got the courage of going to my teacher's ashram at the time. It was a community and it was a school, and it was a spiritual community and a Zen spiritual community. And I went with my daughter and I went with a nanny, somebody to help me take care of her so I could be in class. And I went for a whole month. I ended up staying 2 months, and I ended up graduated 5 years after, because I did vegan and life food nutrition, and then I did the priesthood, to be part, to understand and to be able to be a spiritual nutrition counselor. You had to do both, because you have to understand the spiritual aspect of the body and the organs and the food and the life and the emotions. So it was a lot of study. Once you are in this kind of journey, you never, ever, ever get anywhere. And you always study. I'm always in the verge of something new.
Right. That's the fun of it.
Absolutely. And, the programming is that once you're an adult, you capped it. And it's not true.
Not even close. Not even close. There's just more questions.
There's just more questions, more to know. Yeah. You really would love to live a bit longer, so you have more time to understand more. And life becomes so much more beautiful and full. And this is what I tell my children who are not afraid to grow up. Because a lot of the youngsters now are afraid to grow up.
Well, yeah, I mean, for many reasons, I could see why right now in this day and age. Yeah.
Yes.
It does get better, though. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to get older. It's so beautiful.
Yes, definitely. And through my daughter, I went to study, and let me tell you, the first week was a tremendous teaching for me, because the first week my daughter got sick and I could start hitting the croups. And I was in this little town in Tucson, Arizona, called Patagonia, besides Nogales, Mexico. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to end up in the hospital. And I went with my little one. She used to suck her thumb, And I looked at Dr. Cousins and I said, Dr. Cousins, my daughter is very sick. I'm not going to be able to go to class. I don't know what to do. I think I need to go back. I'm afraid. I'm crying. My daughter can't breathe. And he gave me 3 herbs. And he says, just watch her. Just watch her. Every 2 hours, you give her this. Every 2 hours, you give her that. and watch her. And really, that was my first lesson. I realized that with these herbs, every 2 hours, if I would watch and I would pay attention, I realized that she was better every hour, every hour, every hour, and every day. By the third day, she was much better. She never ended up in the hospital. Never again she had to take any of the what are they called, the steroids to open up the lungs. Never had to take steroids. And usually you don't get out of the croupy stage, the underdeveloped lung stage, until you're 7.
The magic of herbs. I play with herbs every day. That's my medicine. I do everything holistically in that way. Herbs are amazing. And it's no wonder that Western medicine, although there's a place for it in some regards, has been so hard conditioned on us because we wouldn't be making other people filthy rich if they would know the magic of herbs.
Everything is there for us, really.
Yeah.
Everything is there.
Yes, I agree. I absolutely
Everything is
agree.
there.
Do you feel like through your experience, how you shared earlier, how when you were a vegetarian, you were still gaining a lot of weight? There's although you can be a vegetarian or even vegan, there are unhealthy ways to be both. It doesn't mean because I'm vegetarian or I'm vegan that I'm healthy. Do you want to share with us a little bit about that experience, how you can be unhealthy and
Yeah,
be vegetarian and
absolutely.
vegan?
Absolutely. I think it's definitely, even if you're unhealthy, vegan or vegetarian, I think it's a definitely upgrade, because once you take out some of the animal and a lot of the animal, you have an opening for something new. And when you have an opening for something new, I did vegetarian junkie for many years.
Oh, is that what you call it? That's good. Vegetarian junkie. Okay. I've heard dirty vegetarian, dirty vegan. Yeah.
Junkie, I call it,
I
because
like the junkie. There we go.
yeah, like soy sauce and white rice, and I would go. I remember at 18, I would go to the fast food, and I'll order the burger without the burger, just with the cheese and and
But
onion
still
rings,
the white bread and yeah.
right? And and please put extra pickles. I like the pickles.
But either way, I mean, you're like you said, it is still an upgrade from
Yes,
the other way.
one less damaging thing. That's
Yeah.
the upgrade.
Yeah. Well, why would someone want to cut meat products, actual meat or dairy out of their diet? What would be the benefit of that?
Yes. Well, we don't really need it in our life. Dairy has, for example, many people are lactose intolerant.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and has a special it has a special it has a casein, which is to grow the calf. The casein, which is like a glue. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
casein is like a glue for your stomach, and it has special hormones to grow the calf very fast. Yes. And in the spiritual way, the cow represents the sacred feminine. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And by violating the sacred feminine, what does that mean? Why are we violating cows? We're violating cows through inseminating them artificially.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm not going to go in deep into that because I don't want to cause any people to get completely grossed out. But you should
I
find out.
feel like a lot of people know and they
Good.
don't want to know and continue on, or they
Good,
stop.
and this is part of our karma, as our
Mm-hmm.
collective karma. And to desecrate the mother and to take the child away and to drink its milk and to cook the meat in its milk, It's really an aberrant way of living a life of peace, or thinking of yourself as a good human being. To be a good human being, I'm far of being good, okay? Because I'm always learning, because I always want to be better. So it's not a judgment, okay? It is a reflection upon myself and my growth. And then you reflect upon yourself and upon your growth,
Right.
because
It's the choice you choose for yourself. What
yes.
would you say to those who feel like if you were a vegetarian and you decided not to eat meat for all of the purposes said, what's the difference in eating vegetables? They're alive also. They have energy also. What's your response to that?
Yes. Well, everything is alive,
Mhm.
even the crystals,
Yeah.
you see. But, and yes, we must pay respect to the food we eat, that it is alive and full of biophotonic energies. And yes, the plants are also sentient beings. But we have to see, you know, what is the impact of eating a plant and bringing back nourishment to our soil than to eating and growing animals for food, and the environmental impact and the desecration and the true suffering that is causing, not the plants. You have to choose. You have to choose, okay, what's the greatest suffering? What's the least suffering? The path of
Mhm.
suffering. And for me, the greatest, it is eating animals, farming animals for food, having a world that has more animals and has human beings that don't have to eat, having people, and earth that is being completely polluted, water, water, our water reservoirs are
Mhm.
polluted from the defecation of excess animals, animals that are sick, animals that are being fed to people that are sick, and people that are getting sick from eating animals in horrific conditions. And these horrific conditions stay as an energetic imprint in the meat. The animals, when they eat pollution, when they eat even grass or they eat soybeans, which are being planted in the world
Yes.
for feeding the cattle, and these soybeans that are being planted with fungicides, pesticides, and herbicides create deserts in our earth.
Right.
See? So
Yeah.
when you go into it with knowledge, when you go into it with an open heart, when you go into it, it's not just your life. When you see this, you can open up the heart to live a different type of life. And by doing that, you receive a whole complete different wisdom from plants. Even when you eat them, they start teaching you the ways of the light, the ways of the rainbow, the ways of the colors, the ways of your soul.
Mm. Are all of those things that you just shared the ways that becoming vegan has changed you and shifted your life?
Yes, and eating superfoods and eating super herbs and taking my shoes off and planting a garden,
Mm.
and getting a flower and asking, may I take you? Getting a fruit and also asking the tree, may I take you? And you will see some they fall right into your hand, you know, and taking time and going to the waterfall and admiring the natural beauty that still exists in this beautiful world.
Yes, there really is so much around if you stop and look and
Mhm.
listen and feel. You write poetry, but the way that you share with us is poetry. It's so beautiful and has so much energy and inspiration behind it. Thank you for sharing your truth with us. It's just lovely, and I cannot wait to explore you and your experiences for another hour.
Oh.
To all of you, stay close. The second hour of Soul Wanderings is always commercial free. Lucky us. We'll get to dive deeper into Marcela's book, Love, Peace, and Vegetables. So stay close.
Hey members, the new KGRA-DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA-DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA-DB.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan.
Welcome to the new KGRA digital broadcasting website, thekgradb.com. Here you'll find great new content, including the KGRA classics, great shows from our archives. You'll be able to see the show times and information so you can see what show is currently on air. The on-air live button. So just go to this section and you'll be able to hear the show live with exceptional sound quality. We also have the Vault section. Make sure to subscribe to get access to great content and special features. We have the make content for our latest news and events, so make sure to sign up and you can be part of our forum. So make sure to check out the new KGRA digital broadcasting website, thekgradb.com. We look forward to seeing you there, and we hope that you enjoy the new website.
Hello, friends. My microphone's clear over here. I guess I should have that back. Welcome. We are continuing our wandering with Marcela Benson, and she has written this amazing book called Love, Peace, and Vegetables, Recipes for Conscious Living. And it's filled with beautiful photos, poetry, recipes, all kinds of things. It's so different from any other cookbook that I have ever seen. Recipe book, it's that and then some. When you call it Love, Peace, and Vegetables, Recipes for Conscious Living, the book alone is very conscious. Like, it just is full of intention and inspiration. It's something you could put out on your counter and not have to put away in a cupboard. It's just gorgeous. There was a lot of love. You said 10 years of, but a lot of love and work that went into this book. What do you feel when you created this book? What did you feel? How did you want to make it different from any other books? And how is it different from any other recipe books?
Well, for me, being in the kitchen and being a person who I've raised my children, and I've seen a lot of people with a lot of trauma in the kitchen also. Seeing that, I mean, working parents and family meals or delivered food, and my husband, he most of his life ate delivered food because his mom is a pharmacist and his father was a dental technician, and they needed to work. And it's not like they didn't love them. They just needed to work. They needed to work, and and such was life, that they didn't have that much time. And when they did have time, they did the right things. They took them camping, and so there's many ways of doing life. For me, creating this book was to bring inspiration into the kitchen, which is a place sometimes that is not valued as a spiritual place, and is not valued as a place of nourishment. It's interesting because the kitchen is where the nourishment happens, where a lot of love happens towards the family, and it just isn't put as something important. And I think in the kitchen, something very important can be happening for you every day. And every day we have to be there 3 times a day, sometimes many more times a day. So how about if our kitchen all of a sudden becomes our sanctuary, where we have a water altar, because we are water.
Yes.
Yes, so I'm teaching in this book how do we kind of become intentional in the kitchen. And the kitchen is not just a place to come and go, because every part of your home, every part of your life should, as you grow and as you learn, can become sacred and magical.
Yes.
And beautiful. So for me, it was, to bring vindication and sacredness into the kitchen. I grew up in a family where, Middle Eastern descent, where the women were in the kitchen and the men were doing what the man was doing, working and bringing money into the house, and, and being the male boss. And the kitchen was completely disregarded. Completely. The woman was completely disregarded. And it was not worthy. And for me, bringing this book into the light, I realize now that it's a multifaceted in my life was, no, I got to show people that being in the kitchen is sacred and is nourishing and is valuable. Now for me, this is in my life, I know it is. And every cell of my being, I know that the kitchen, the bathroom, the entrance of the house, everything is sacred for me because everything is part of a sacred life. But for me, when I started, I said, we need validation. We need inspiration. We don't just need a cookbook to make just some random kind of recipe.
Another chore.
Yes, we need to become healers in the kitchen. We need to be able to understand, for example, I speak about salt and how salt is a crystalline structure. And this crystalline structure, you can press it in your hands and with your intention. When you press it in your hands, you're adding pressure. This is called piezoelectricity. And with your intention, from your heart, from your mind, from your eyes, from your whole being, you change the crystal, you add this intention to the crystal of the salt, and then you put it into the food. See, so the love for your family, the love that you need for yourself, you bring the intention and you put it back into the food, changing the structure of the water of your food.
Yeah.
So then the medicine is through the intention and the structure of the water to the food and the structure that then you intake this food. You always hear eating mother's food is nothing's better than mom's food, right?
True.
No matter what it is,
It's true.
or somebody that you love. Sometimes it's not the mom, sometimes it's somebody else. But home cooked meals, sometimes your friends' home cooked meals, because a mom has a lot of love, is the best ever.
Yes, I agree with that. I was fortunate enough to be raised by a woman who put a lot of love in her cooking.
Yes. Yes. And sometimes, in my family, there was no knowledge of nutrition. There was no knowledge of health.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a lot of problem through that love without knowledge. See? But the love stayed because I was able to transform it into knowledge, into nutrition, into change, you see? But the love stayed because that's what we pass through. Sorry, I had something falling here. That's what we pass through generations, a lot of love through the food.
Yes. I love that you brought up having your kitchen a sacred space. So many of us in this day and age, we're in such a rush that we have forgotten the importance of connecting together in that space, creating connections and sharing the love of food and stories and experiences with each other in that space that makes it so highly vibrational. I really appreciate that you've brought that back into awareness through your work.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's so important. So that's why for me, putting so much effort on this book to make it beautiful, beautiful, because with beauty, a beautiful plant or a beautiful human being, all of a sudden you're like, and it doesn't need to be what's beautiful to me. It might be different for you because beauty is to the eye of the beholder.
Right.
Beauty always makes you stop. It always makes you, oh, look again, look again. And in that moment is when you have an opportunity to come back into your sacredness. And that's why also I made this book with such an amount of intention and beauty, because I wanted you to call you back into your beauty, call you back into your sacred space, call you back into inspiration, and bring it. Like my students sometimes showed me their altars, their water altars. I said, well, Marce, it's not quite like yours, but this is what I was able to make. And I have to say that I have seen the most beautiful water altars. And it doesn't have to be full of crystals like mine is. I'm over the top. Yeah, that's Marcela. Marcela is a bit
We're
over
soul
the top.
sisters. I have crystals all over my house. Yes.
My best friend calls me maximalist. Marcela, you're a maximalist.
Well, when people understand that crystals is a whole other show, but that's my love. Like I do everything with my crystals, everything. I make decisions with my crystals, everything. And it sounds like you're the same way, especially before the show, how you were setting them up there in your space. I love that. And I actually do have a question from the chat room to get off topic a little bit. Now that you brought that up, I hope you don't mind. They were wondering if you had any suggestions or input if crystals can help assist the growth and energy of vegetables and plants. What your opinion was on that?
Yes, absolutely. Part of my schooling was veganic gardening. And one of the biggest recommendations from a veganic gardener who was growing walnuts the size of golf balls and
Oh, wow.
yes, and grapefruits the size of your head, was that he was using he was going to the quarries where they would cut the marble, and they would cut the granites, and they would cut the different stones, and he will ask if he could take the powder. So the powder of these rocks are all minerals, and he will sprinkle the powder to his trees. And this was one of the incredible techniques. So you have minerals, and you have precious, semi-precious, powder minerals, and the plants, they know how to extract. If we take it, we cannot extract the minerals. It's too dense for us. But the plants, they know how to extract these minerals, and then you have highly mineralized plants. And let me tell you, when you eat vegetables that are highly mineralized, like we're supposed to be eating, with a soil that is full of microorganisms, is full of minerals, okay, a topsoil that is healthy, believe me, you eat a little bit of vegetables and you're full. I wish people can experience that. I was lucky enough that I was able to experience a highly mineralized gardens like we should be having in the entire earth. And yes, and you can do crystal grids. I've gridded my whole property here. I grid my house in every little corner. And yes, it makes a huge difference. And, I feel like the beauty of the crystals, and each time, crystals, I can go on and on and on with crystals.
Right? Me too.
Just forget about the book, forget about vegetables. Let's talk about crystals.
I'm right there with you. In fact, I have a video, I'm going to be doing videos at the beginnings of shows, and I just created a video this week for next week on how to build a crystal grid. So I love that. I love that you love them so much, like I do.
I do. They've helped me through my life.
Mm-hmm.
I said I don't collect crystals. The crystals have been collecting me and have been teaching me.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. They have been one of my biggest teachers also. Oh, I adored that when that was brought up. I didn't mean to interrupt you by any means. I definitely love it when the listeners ask questions, and thank you for answering that from your point of view. That's just great. You have a lot of unique art in your book and poetry, which is so different from a typical recipe book. What was your inspiration in adding those elements?
Well, the book has about 100 and plus beautiful color pictures. And, for me, art was always a big part in my life. I've always, I studied art myself. Mm-hmm. And for many years, I went to Bali, and I was friend with this artist who's an incredible artist. And he does Batuanese art. So the Batuanese art is in an area on Bali where two rivers, when one river becomes two, it forks. And the people that are born in this area is called Batuan. And the royalty, it chooses these people to become the royal painters. So from many generations, they go into meditation and they start expressing Vedic stories, Vedic mythical stories with a meaning, with spirituality, with a teaching into paintings. And this art was becoming lost. And I met this artist and I bought one of his paintings many, many years ago. And I just fell in love with his energy because he explained to me that he was one of the first artists that started to bring a sense of humor. And because he was bringing a sense of humor to the mythical stories, he was not very much liked. And he explained to me the beauty of his art and the importance of having also a sense of humor in life. I think, sense of humor is very, very important.
Isn't that the truth?
You can't take yourself too seriously, really. Just let it go and have a good laugh you know? And I think this is important, being able to come back into your child self and realize that, you know, it's way too much nonsense.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Yes.
Yes.
And I
And
feel like the older you get, the more you allow yourself to be that way. Because when we're younger, we're running away from our adolescence. We're wanting to be older. But once we get older, we find the joy in the journey and become more childlike.
yes. The healthier you are, the more you can be, you know, a wise child.
Life's a trip, isn't it?
Yes. So I want to tell you a little bit because I know you will love this story. You will
Oh,
love this story.
we love stories. Please.
Yes. So I wanted to find an illustrator for my book, and I could not find an illustrator. Everybody who showed me their illustrations, I was like, no, no. And one day that I was taking the pictures in Bali, most of the pictures were taken in Bali. And I said to the person who's my Balinese family, the driver who was helping me was beyond the driver. You know, we call each other and we still call each other. It's my Balinese family, and say, Astawa, you know, I need to find an illustrator for my book, and I can't find anybody. And he looks at me while we were going to a store to buy some props for the pictures. And he says, you know that Madegria Wine, the painter, lives right here. And mind you, it was a Sunday. And I looked at him, but he's going to be too expensive for me. I cannot afford this. This is too much. I don't already over budget. I don't have the money. And he looked at me, he says, no. Let's go see him. And he turns the car and we go see the painter. And he was there. And he looks at me and he says, you know, I'm supposed to be going to the beach now. It's Sunday. But something told me I needed to stay with his broken English, okay? And we chat and we chat and we chat. You know, when you are in Indonesia and in many parts of Asia, you don't go for business first. You have to ask about them, their life, their family, their work. And then at the end, if you need something, you ask.
I like that.
Yes. So it's very beautiful. So you have to be very patient about how you're going to ask for things, because otherwise you come through as rude. No, not only rude, like you want something that you shouldn't have. See? So finally, I had the courage of asking that if he could do the illustrations for my book. And then I said to him, I don't know how I'm going to pay you. And he says to me, well, first of all, I don't know if I can do it because I never done for anything for a book. I'm a painter. And I said, would you come to see my studio? And says, well, I would do that and I will see. So next day, Monday, he comes to my studio in his scooter and he got taken by the energy because I had all the pictures in a wall, all put one after the other, and he saw how intentional I was working.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks at me, he says, I don't know if I can do this. And I said, why? I said, you can do this. And we went through the poetry, we went through the meditation. I gave him a crystal, of course. I gave him one. I said, I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you my citrine that I brought here with me. And I gave him my citrine, and I gave him an essential oil, and we both meditated. And he says, I'm going to try. And I said, but wait, how much are you going to charge me? And he said, if you talk about money, I don't have inspiration. And I said, oh my God, I'm going to get into trouble now. And I said, okay. And I trusted. I said, I'm not going to talk about money. I'm not going to talk about money. And I trusted that. And it was very difficult for me, mind you, because I said, I'm going to be over budget. I'm not going to be able to pay. It's going to be an embarrassment. You can imagine how I was thinking. Finally, it was when the volcano erupted in Asia. I don't know if you know, in Indonesia, in Bali. And we had to leave. So actually, I had to leave. It was the end of my journey. And he said to me, let me sit with it. And 2 months after, he called me up and he says, all of your illustrations are ready. And I want you to know something. I've never in my life had anything coming so fast to me. My hand was going by itself. There was no struggle. There was no doubt of what I was going to do for you. So all the illustrations you see there, they were, I always say, was divine conspiracy where they are. And not only that, he said, you pay me when you're ready. And he said, not only that, I want the money that you, whenever is the time, it's going to go to the children that I teach in my school. So every Sunday, he teaches for free 40 Batuanese children the spiritual art of being present and painting without judgment, without telling them, you can't do this, you can't do that. And with asking them to bring some plastic and clean the neighborhood. And then they make a big painting with all these plastic bottles. And when they finish this plastic bottle, they take them to recycling. And he gives them lunch. And then every so on, they frame every little painting so the children can be proud of their culture. And they do exhibitions. So mind you,
Yes, so good.
yes, I sold out of all of the original paintings. And a lot of money is going to all the children in Bali. Some money is for the painting. And this is not a charity. This is human beings loving each other, collaborating with each other, and doing what is right. And trusting.
It
So
feels so good.
yes. So this is a journey which we all could be living. No more charity, without sickness, and collaborating with each other, which is so much fun.
Right. It's like I said in the beginning of the show, we're here to help support one another. And we're meant to do that. We're not meant to have this division. We're meant to be with one another and help each other through this human experience. I want to invite those of you who are not watching on video, because we're flashing all of Marcela's information at the bottom. If you're listening only, go and visit Marcela's website, which is Love, MARCELA.love. It's there where you'll be able to see parts of this amazing book that she has created. It's full of inspiration. The artwork, you're right, Marcela, it's breathtaking. It's incredible. I'm anxiously awaiting my copy. I told you that before the show. I cannot wait. I know it's going to sit in my kitchen like as a centerpiece on my table. I have a huge table. I love to gather family and friends and feed them. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's definitely going to be a book that is a centerpiece in my home. I just can't wait to get my hands on it. It's absolutely breathtaking. It just truly, the energy of it is so intentional. It's like nothing I've ever seen in a book like this. I mean, I love cooking and I love recipes, but this is all of that and then some. You refer to live food cuisine often. What does that mean?
is a food that is at its highest energetic level, not cooked, not baked, basically raw, and many times fermented. So it has more bioavailability for digestion, many times massaged. Massage means is when you have cabbage and you press it, or you have maybe kale and you press it, and as you press it, you massage it. This is what's called massage. You are breaking the cell wall of the vegetable, so it's easily digestible. Yes, you see, opening the waters, opening the cell wall, so then your body doesn't have to do work, because many people have compromised digestive systems.
Right. I think more people than not do. There are so many health issues that we have that could be resolved with changing our diets.
Yes, not only changing our diets, but our diets will change the way we farm. You see, because we have a damaged digestive system, because we have damaged soil, because we have vegetables that are not mineralized, and our topsoil is suffering for the type of practices,
Oh yeah.
you know, the monocultures, and the monocultures that are taking and they're not returning back into the soil. So this is very important to understand, because once you understand, then you know you do have the power of change. And then you know that when you are choosing healthy options for yourself, you are being part of the change in the world.
Yes. If someone was interested in shifting the way that they chose to eat into a more aware eating habit lifestyle like you are sharing with all of us, but they're eating processed foods and sugar and fast food and meat and things like that, what are some first steps that you would recommend someone to take in order to shift into a more aware way of eating?
Yes. Well, if you are at the level of fast food and sodas, the first thing is just drop that. Just stopping that for many people is very difficult. Okay?
It's so
Drop.
convenient.
We're used to it. We're not used to it. We're addicted.
True. Yeah, very much so.
We're addicted to it. If we don't have that, we have no satisfaction. You know, we are in a vicious addictive cycle with addictive substances that are playing with our neurotransmitters in a way that is activating our morphine receptors. So this is, you know, there is one book that I loved that I read many, many, many years ago that is called, I think it was Neil Bernard, and it was called Breaking the Food Seduction. Really, it's a fantastic book that really, it opens up the eyes for people who need to understand that whatever they're eating could be a tremendous, it's an addiction. It's not just food, it's a drug.
Right. Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes. I agree with that 100%.
Yes. So it takes time to build the knowledge and to change. But one of the first thing is not what you're going to eat, is what you're going to stop eating.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. Yes. And then what you're going to bring into your life, you know, water is very important. We are water. See, most of our body is composed of water. We need to replenish our water, and we are chronically dehydrated. How to bring that water to stay intracellularly, how to bring that water, the fresh water. You see, we're mostly like the earth. We're mostly salt water. Our tears is salty. Our sweat is salty. Most of the water in our body is salty, like the oceans on the earth. We're not separate from earth, and we're not separate from this amazing, infinite, cosmic flow.
Very
Yes.
true.
And if you start seeing that, see, you realize that, oh, wow, truly our bodies are like the ocean. See, but then inside our cells, which are the least part of the water of our body, is fresh water, just like the rivers and the lakes, you see?
Mhm.
So we have that in our bodies too. So we have to replenish them. How does that stay in our bodies? Is through salt, through minerals. The salt helps you retain the proper amount of water and having the proper amount of pressure to send through the cellular wall the water inside the cell. So you have fresh water in the cells, and all of a sudden your cells are beautiful and round, see, and full of water inside, full of water outside. See, so water is very important, and salt. And water and salt, the universe is created, earth created by water and salt.
But not just any salt. Not there are difference in salts.
Yes. And I talk about that in I talk about in detail in my book, and the difference of salt. And you don't want just plain table salt that is sodium, because the sodium will dehydrate you.
Right.
You see? And then you have to see also, then we have individuality. In which state of health are you? Will just any salt will be good for you? What type of salt would be good for you? The amount of salt, like I can take a huge amount of salt, and for me it's like, whoo, like in my breaks here, when I take salt and I take water, because that helps. Over here we're in the Eastern time, and it's almost 9:30. I don't know what time it is. So, and I've been working since 7 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. So I take the salt. Salt wakes me up. My brain is working well because it's not receiving sugar. It's receiving salt, the minerals that are bringing the spark on my cells in my brain that needs for me to be ordered to be in this earth connected, and also be connected with my soul, having the electricity, the magnetism that Marcela is not just this person here. It is much bigger, and she can speak through this body, the universal consciousness. So this is very important, having a vessel that can retain these type of actions in this world.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I'm loving everything you're sharing with us. I've changed the way that I have looked at food and eaten food in the last several years, and the difference between the old me and the new me is huge. Even in the last few weeks, I just keep taking more shifts towards being more aware of what's going in my body. Like I won't eat processed sugars or anything like that, but I still get a sweet tooth every once in a great while. So I know you don't partake in processed sugars. What do you do for your sweet tooth?
Well, I love monk fruit,
Yes.
and I have a whole section here. I mean, people need to know that eating healthy is not bland.
No.
I'm a foodie, so, and eating healthy is delicious. And I always say, believe me, if you know,
Oh, yeah.
healing can be incredibly delicious too.
Yes. Yes.
Eating a way that heals you, So it's not hospital food. It's not food that is bland. This is food that is full of richness. It's herbs and superfoods, and and you can eat certain sweets. Depends where you are in your healing phase. Okay, depends where you are. But what I'm sharing in this book is a whole array of sweets that you can have. That is not a problem. And you can freeze some of them so you can have a little treat. Yes. And it's not going to send your sugar up, and your brain is going to go somewhere else. And I, right now, the whole book, I did it with xylitol. Okay. Which right now I'm not using anymore. But I'm explaining in the book also, because I had a feeling that maybe I might not use that anymore in the future. So I'm explaining also in the book how to change, how to use monk fruit, how to use erythritol, because you see, xylitol is not for everybody. It's an alcohol sugar. And this alcohol sugar, some people have, and I explain that in the book too. Okay. So it's not that I don't explain it. But right now I like to use erythritol and monk fruit. I happen to like that taste. And I like a little bit of stevia. See, and all my recipes, you can change the sweet as you want. If you don't want to use any of that and you prefer to use coconut sugar, use coconut sugar. Because if you're very healthy and you can process and you're a fast oxidizer, means you're a slow oxidizer, meaning that your body burns sugar very slowly. If you're a fast oxidizer, when your body burns sugar very fast, then you have to be careful. You cannot have sweet things, or you have to have sweet things with a greater amount of fat, so it's processed, and a greater amount of fiber, so it's processed slower. And it doesn't create an addicted brain, you see?
What about receiving sugar through fruit?
It all depends on what state of health you are and how your body is burning sugar.
Same situation.
It's the same situation. And I think this is important to understand, because we think we need different things at different times, different seasons, you see, and different stages of our lives. And teaching this is not an easy task, you see, because it's not a pyramid way. It's not the orthodox way that you eat this much or eat that much, or this formula, that formula. This is like, okay, we need to get to know ourselves. For example, 2 days ago, because I'm preparing some classes online, hopefully by December, I'll have a few of them out. I was preparing a whole class on vegan protein, and how to prepare things that are delicious and they're easy, and they maybe have 25 grams of protein. So I ate something with 27 grams of protein in the morning that I prepared, but that was absolutely delicious. And then I realized, I said, oh my God, that was definitely too much protein for me. You see? So, and I'm experimenting now to be able to teach, how do we experiment that in a way that is not boring, and in a way that is not, oh, that's too overwhelming, I can't learn that.
Right. I feel like a lot of people quit because it does become overwhelming, and it does become too much to learn, because there is a lot of research involved, because every body is different. And not only that, feeling like the food prep and the amount of money they feel like they'll spend eating this way deters them from being healthy. Even though, I mean, we could get into the whole financial thing. That's just ridiculous, in my opinion. I feel like it's a lot easier for me to eat healthy, or a lot less expensive for me to eat healthy. But people have their reasons, and that's where they're at, and that's okay. But aside from that, like, there's always, it's just overwhelming. I feel like when I first started my journey, it was so much information and everybody had an opinion. So for me, I mean, I would take a few steps forward, then a few steps back. How does someone not get so overwhelmed by all of the information that's out there, and find a place that is easier for them to find what works best for their body?
Yes. Well, you do have to find teachers who are teaching this way. and that you trust. And, yes, there is a lot of information out there, but then you have to check in with yourself. And I think whatever comes into your arms, into your hands, into your life, it is perfectly what it needs to come for you at that moment. Like if you're listening here, is because you have already intended this in your life and you're manifesting it through being here and listening to this.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. I love that you brought that up. Are all of the recipes in your book ones that you've created yourself, or are they inspiration from others? How did you decide what recipes to share with all of us?
Well, it was definitely a long process. I have some of them were inspired by the women of my family. I always said to them, my aunt passed away a few years ago, but I used to call her up and I used to say, Aunt, I stand on your shoulders. And she used to tell me, well, I don't do what you do, but she was an amazing cook, really. And she did all the holidays, and she fed us, and she fed us incredible food. And all she did was the whole year prepare for all of us, and she was truly, truly loved by all of us through her food. And when I became this teacher, she used to say, I don't do like you, but I do what I do. And I used to tell her, Aunt, I am standing on your shoulders. Never forget that. Because of you, I'm doing what I'm doing.
I love that.
And
I said that so much tonight. I love that, but I really do. Everything you are sharing is so wonderful.
So, you see, I do have recipes for my family. I have a phenomenal hummus. You're going to love that. And I have a recipe that one day I was thinking about my grandmother and my father and his brothers, who all died from obesity related diseases. And I was thinking, I knew my grandmother loved everyone. She did not intentionally make food or my aunt make any food that wanted to make anybody sick. They love the men in the family. They love them and they serve them. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I sat with myself and I said, if I had to make anything, what would you want me to make healthy? One of your recipes into health. So I have one recipe that is called lach machine, which is made, the original is lamb meat raw, but I made it with walnuts and I made it without white flour. I made it with chia and with flax seeds, and it is one of my favorite recipes because it reminds me of my childhood, and it's kind of like, the pinnacle of this recipe becoming health giving. It's like the ultimate crystal recipe. And that what recipe means to me, that recipe. Then I have another one that I love, that is a butter. I call it Shanti's butter because one of my best friends and soul sister, the wife of my teacher, taught me this butter. And I loved it. And it's just coconut oil with flaxseed oil and turmeric, and, and you have to do a certain process, and then you can put it in your sweet potato.
Ooh,
yeah, and it's absolutely delicious. And you can, you can put it in your toast. Yes, and you can have good oils into your diet. See,
now you're just making me hungry.
Yes, I'm such a foodie. Forget it. And then I have these other recipes. Most of them are originals, taken from inspiration of traveling, inspiration like of different cultures. Like I have tzatziki, which is the cucumbers and the yogurt. And the yogurt is made with, I think here is made with sunflower seeds. Yes, but you don't even need to make the yogurt. You cut the cucumbers, and then you can buy coconut yogurt and put coconut yogurt, and then put some, you can put some cumin, and then put a little bit of tarragon, a little bit of lemon, a little bit of olive oil. You have a phenomenal salad in 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Yes, it sounds amazing. It
So
sounds so good.
you don't need to do a lot. Believe me, I have one of my miso soups, which I call it miso healthy. It's just a few minutes.
What a great name.
Yes. Everybody laughs when they see that. They're like, miso healthy. Yes, miso healthy.
Yeah. It's a vibration, just saying it.
Yes, and it's just a matter of putting, a chickpea miso, which is the fermented Asian way of making this paste.
Mhm.
And then you put hot water, and then you put all of your chopped raw vegetables in there, and you stir it, and you have it. I just taught it to my daughter-in-law. My son is married now, and my daughter-in-law was here, and she's like, I'm so tired after work. I'm so tired. And I said, but you don't come home and eat junk. And I said, this is what you eat. And what? I said, okay. I sat back on the kitchen. I said, okay, go to the refrigerator. Get the miso out. She gets the miso out. Heat up the water. Put it in a mug. How much? Put a tablespoon and a half. Show me. Take it out. Don't measure it. Just put it out. And then mix the hot water. Now turn it. Now try it. How is that? And she's like, oh, that's really good. So now, are you hungry? Put some spinach inside. Just throw some washed spinach inside. And just put some sprouts in there. Do you know?
Easy. It doesn't have to be challenging.
It doesn't have to be challenging, really. It doesn't. Mm-hmm. It doesn't. For the people who are working all day long, we need to find ways that they can have food that is not challenging and that is nourishing. And this is not difficult to do.
Mm-hmm. Your book is large, like you said, 444 pages. See, everyone, look at that. That's a big boy. That's bigger than you. It's rather large. Do you feel like you put everything you wanted to put into that book, or even with as big as it is, do you feel like you would possibly have another one that you didn't share because you didn't share everything in this one?
Yes. No. Well, this is my encyclopedic kind of, instead of starting through the little book, I started with a big book because it's kind of my personality. Yeah.
Go big or go home.
Yeah. And, I suffer through it because I really you should start doing a little booklet, and then you should do a medium book, and then you go for the bigger book. I started backwards, and, but that's, such is life for me. Yeah. But yes, I have 2 or 3 more books in the pipeline.
Oh, good. I love that.
Yeah. They're never gonna be this big ever again.
I'm sure.
Never.
It will take you another 10 years.
No, never again. No, but I have a small book that is beautiful coming through the pipeline, and it's all about how to get back on track.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, because we all fall off sometimes, right?
Yeah, we do. And, and I'm going to be talking a little bit more of this book doesn't have everything, because no book has everything, ever. And a book is never, ever finished. Right. Because wisdom is infinite. You see?
It is. It never ends. There's always more to learn.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite page or a favorite recipe or a favorite poem or anything like that in your book that you'd want to share with us?
Yes, yes, I have uh, a beautiful non-denominational blessing that I love. I love one of my, I love every part of the book, because the part of the water, how to make a water altar and how to use your crystals for your water, that's for me very important. How to, how to use your salt for intention is very important. How I talk about the different cultures, and the different cultures knowing how to bless our water, and water is medicine. That for me was so much fun to write. And then there is a whole part about the secret ingredient, and that was a lot of fun for me to write, because it's so magical about understanding that our intention and our words can actually change the structure of the
Yes.
water, of the food, and the water, of the food and the water we drink. Yes.
Right. It's
And
so
from
true.
that, also, there is a little poem that is a non-denominational blessing, and then I explained another part of the book that is my favorite, is when I went into the inner quest of understanding what a blessing meant. For many years, I was like, I don't exactly quite understand what a blessing is.
You mean a blessing before you eat your food, to bless
Yes.
the food?
And like, who are we to bless a person, to bless a tree, to bless a food, to bless an animal? And like, who do we think we are that we can do these godly things?
I agree.
And I went into this quest for many years asking spiritual teachers, so what's a blessing? And all of them gave me different answers. But one of them gave me an answer that finally it clicked for me. And I asked, I said, Rabbi, tell me, what is this about the blessing? Who are we to bless? And he said that in the Kabbalistic teachings, and I have it written in my book in a beautiful way, it is taught that as you say a blessing, what you're really doing is as if you were pulling a branch from a tree that is in heaven down to earth, to plant it back into earth, to have another tree materializing into earth. Therefore, as you speak a blessing, you're merging heavens and earth. And this is why we bless, to constantly thread light from heaven to earth and merge with our words and with our intentions, heaven and earth. And that really did it for me.
I
I
can see
always
why.
bless. From there on, I've always blessed. I bless my students, and I bless my water, and I bless my food.
I can see why. What an elegant way to put it. It it brings motion to the blessing instead of an action or pressure to do so. How lovely. It's a great way for you to end sharing your book with us in that way. It's a completion. It's a blessing to all of us. All of the information you shared with us. I literally have smiled the entire show. My cheeks hurt. I resonate so much with what you share, and it's just so beautiful that you have decided to spend the last 10 years of your life creating such a beautiful piece of art that isn't just to look at, but has movement and motion to it that will allow us to be inspired and create better choices in our life and have a beautiful piece of artwork in the process in our homes. Thank you so much for being brave enough to share that with all of us and putting yourself into the world as you do. I want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to find you. What ways can they do that?
Through my website, www.marcela, marcela.love, and also through the social media venues that we've shared before. And if I may, since we finished up with the blessings, I would love to bring a blessing to you and to your audience, if I may.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we have
And
another minute.
yes, so AJ, may you keep receiving the blessings of sharing with the world always light and an open canvas for love and inspiration. And may your audience be able to receive the blessings that you bring with an open heart, therefore transforming their lives and the world, and being able to receive and being able to give and being able to be in the world with their highest and best intentions all the time. Many blessings.
Oh, Marcela, thank you. So beautiful. I am just honored to have spent so much time with you and receive such a beautiful blessing to end our time together. Thank you. And I know all of you have been inspired as well. Thank you for your participation in the chat room. Make sure you follow and like Marcela Benson's social and go to her website, marcela.love. Purchase the book. You won't be disappointed. Until next week, everyone, be good to yourself and be good to each other. We'll see you next time.